Before we carry on, I want to ask you a big favor. Please subscribe to our podcast channels and on YouTube as well. This will help us to grow the channel and get more guests on board for better interviews and more information. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Ardan, how's it? How you man?
I'm doing good, HM. Thanks for having me. It's fun to have a chat again.
Yeah, thanks for joining me.
No
It's been a
worries.
long time and it's good to see you
Always.
again. So
Definitely.
you've recently moved to South Africa and you come from the Netherlands. Why?
A very good question. Like at this time of the year, because it's winter now in South Africa, from time to time I think, okay, hey, maybe I need to go back to the Netherlands. And that's not because of life here or because of the nice wine and food, but mainly because of the weather. I really underestimated the weather here in the Western Cape. Like it can be cold, but rather than that, no, I like the country. It's beautiful. It has its challenges, of course, but which country doesn't have any challenges? But there's a lot of hope and a lot of opportunities here as well, in my perspective. So, no, it's just a beautiful country, and I do believe there are a lot of opportunities here. So, for that reason, I'm here.
You have several companies, of which one is currently the one that I assume takes up most of your time. That's Click Patrol. Do you want to tell us a bit more regarding what this company does and your background towards it and why you chose to go that way?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, it is a journey. The crazy thing is that I've had like a lot of agencies, online marketing agencies, and digital products, which I sold mainly in Europe. And some of them were horrible, and others went pretty good. And that gave me the opportunity to move to South Africa. So one of the reasons to go to South Africa was just to enjoy life a bit more. I have a little boy, and I wanted to share more time with this little fellow. But yeah, after 3 months here and sitting on a mountain day in, day out, going to the beach quite often and having wines day in, day out, I thought, yeah, I still miss like having a company and not being heavily involved, but just see the numbers again, open your laptop and see how things are going. And one of those journeys is Click Patrol. And we're now 2.5 years later, and I do think it's a very interesting product that resonates very well in Europe, and should resonate very well in South Africa and in Africa itself. It doesn't do yet, but I really believe that this market has a high potential for Click Patrol, because what Click Patrol does is we help agencies, companies who advertise on Meta or in Google Ads by optimizing their ad spend. And how we do that is by eliminating non-human traffic. Most people know bots and scrapers and robots who click on links or on ads, and they drain budget. And we try to identify them and eliminate them and make sure that you don't have those clicks anymore on your ads, and you have more budget left to spend on real people who actually gonna buy something on your platform or gonna read about your product or so ever.
Looking into to what you do and your background, where you come from, I think it's quite interesting and worth mentioning that it ties in quite well with the algorithm that you have at Click Patrol because it's something that you developed in-house yourself. You did it yourself. And where I want to come to is, do you think people really understand PPC marketing and the whole sphere of marketing around it? Currently as it is with all the social media platforms, with Google Ads, everything integrated. I also see now LinkedIn ads is picking up quite vigorously. So do you think that this would remain so, um, how can I say, can it remain so appropriate in the market today for the next 5 years? And also, by using your software, do you think more people will go this way in marketing?
So there are a few there are a few very interesting questions. Honestly, um, it is like it really depends per market how people look at this specific subject. So, for example, in Europe, it's quite common to have software to protect you against non-human clicks, and an algorithm is like the basic thing that you need there. You need something automated that can live on the spot determine if something is a real or non-real person. In the end, computers will never buy a product because why should they? They're only there to predict some or to do like their some kind of behavior or to show something, but they're not there with the intention to buy anything. That are only human beings who really have an intention to buy anything. And I think here in Africa, the people still trust Google like a lot, which makes sense because Google is like, of course, a registered company, but of course, Google also has like their own goals, and that's just making money, and they hope to make a lot of money. So it is good to doubt Google a bit, and I always try to compare a bit how easy it is to eliminate fake news, for example. Like that's not as easy. So even these big platforms, they can't stop it. And if they can't stop that, which is like have a high impact and politically is very, very sensitive, if they can't block that, why can they block like a fraudulent click or a non-human click? Those things are very smart creatures, those bots and the people behind it, because that's a money incentivized thing that's running. So in Europe, you have your regulations by the European Union. They make agreements with Google. And here in South Africa, they don't have those regulations, or they're not as visible or not as far advanced as in Europe. So like having this kind of software, it's really a thing that's going to be more important, especially to know exactly what's going on. And if you look into the upcoming 5 years, I think advertising is going to be more and more important, since the younger generation is constantly on their mobile, they're constantly on the internet connected, and the only real way to get to them is digitally. So I think the role of a marketer is going to change. Like now it's bidding on keywords, etc. But I think in the future it will be really like, how do I pinpoint a specific user that I want to address my message to? So it will change, but it's getting more important than ever to have your data in order to understand who your user is and have your metrics there to see, hey, is it performing, yes or no? Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think that sends us in the right direction and ties in with the current global trends I'm looking at on paid online marketing. According to your knowledge and the research and data that you have at your possession, what are the trends that's currently top of line, and the platforms? Which platforms do you think those people spend the most money on marketing, and where Click Patrol can actually tie in? Because I also see that you are a Google preferred partner, and I think that's from last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, true. So we are a Google preferred partner and also certified by them as well. So that makes it very strong. And also it tells us that they see the need for these kind of tooling in addition to the own services they already have in-house for quality assurance. So no, there is definitely space. If you look into the platforms, it really differs per country, per region. But for example, here in South Africa, Google is still quite popular, especially if it's going about search intent. So if people are searching for a specific product or for a specific need, they still use Google. However, Facebook, TikTok, and these kind of platforms are growing rapidly. Facebook is a little bit declining, not only here in South Africa, but also like in Europe and in other countries. However, Instagram and TikTok, they are still very, very strong power brands, which are still growing year on year on year. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be exciting, especially because of the world and the political environments we're in now. You see in the US, they are really against TikTok. They try to ban TikTok from the market. If that's going to happen in the US, then most probably it's also going to be in Europe, which will be like a very heavy loss for TikTok, for example, because most of those inventions and most of those budgets, they are coming from these countries and these regions. But for South Africa particularly, it could be like a positive thing to have like TikTok more available. So no, I see like platforms, they are not shifting a lot, but yeah, new platforms, they can rise quickly. So especially like TikTok, that can go quite rapidly. And the second thing, which is quite interesting as well, if you compare like different continents, then you see that, for example, here in Africa, that cost of acquisition for a B2C user is actually quite high down here, way higher than you see in other countries. The reason is there are multiple devices, they're not always accessible because of prepaid phone contracts. Swapping a SIM card, swapping a phone is quite easy, and that makes this market a bit complex and also like very, very interesting for bots, scrapers, and fraudulent people who try to make money out of advertisers' pockets. So it is a dynamic market which changes month on month, and you really have to be keen on this market and be spot on to be like a very good marketer. You really need to have the right temperature. You need to measure day in, day out, because things change rapidly from that perspective.
Do you think that online marketing in the space that you play in is the most expensive method to market your company, or do you think the money is worth the while spending for companies? And which companies do you think and would recommend on using these kind of strategies to market?
Yeah, very good question, eh? Very good question. I think every healthy company should make a profit on their Google Ads campaign. And with healthy, I mean like if they have a good margin on the product, if they have a healthy product, a product that really works, which resonates with their clients, then you will do good. And yeah, that's how you describe the best companies, of course. I'm always a little bit scared about companies who have like products and they think they can't sell it because their brand is not strong enough. Because I think that's the biggest bullshit excuse that you can have. Like, yeah, sorry, I can't sell my product because my brand is not good enough. Well, a brand doesn't sell a product in the end.
Yeah.
In the end, it's the product itself that needs to sell itself, and then the brand will come, because like that's the representation of the brand. So I'm always quite keen if someone comes to me and says, okay, yeah, I need to have a branding campaign to brand my product because Google search or Facebook isn't working for me. Then I think, okay, yeah, just move on with life, because this guy is never going to make it because the brand is not going to sell this product. So yeah, there are some things that you need to be keen of. And like still, I do think like know your key metrics are most important. Why are people dropping off? There are a lot of free tools in the market that you can use. For example, Clarity from Microsoft, which is like a Hotjar alternative. What it does, it just shows you exactly how a user moves over your site. And it gives that like super useful intelligence, which you can use to optimize your site, your product, see why people are not converting in the end. I think a tool like Click Patrol, of course, will help, because like it eliminates already, like in South Africa, between 8 and 21% of non-human traffic. So 21 up to 21% you can save on your ad budget, which is a no-brainer, especially in this market. I do think tools like Google Analytics still are very, very easy to get on board and to work with, although you need a little bit of knowledge about how to do that. Use Facebook. Facebook itself has a lot of insights, not by doing just only advertising, but also just like to see, hey, where are my people coming from? What are they doing? What type of people are visiting my platform? So yeah, there are many tools to do. I also like live chat, especially live chat on your platform when your product is not converting. Or you can't convert any people, you get a lot of traffic, but they don't buy. Add a chat on your platform and just listen to your client. Selling a digital product or selling your product digitally is so difficult because you're not in touch with your client. And on average, a website does have like between 4 and 8% of conversion rate. So from every 100 people who visit your website, between the 4 and the 8 people are buying something. If you have a real shop somewhere in a mall or so ever, and you get 100 people into your shop and only 4 to 8 people are going to buy that something in that shop, within 2 months this shop will be closed because it's not profitable. And I think like that way you need to think about your web shop and your digital products as well. It doesn't make sense. There are still like 92 people who are not buying your product, and only 8 do if you're doing good. So ask those 92 people why they didn't buy. Because they came with an intention. They took the time to visit your platform and to understand your platform and your product. So identify why are they not doing that. And there are many tools to do that. But I think clarity and chat will really bring in like that stuff. And the free tool to use is for chat is, for example, Talk2. It's TOWK.TO. It's free and it has a knowledge base chat, and it just works perfect. So I hope your listeners can do something with this, that it will help them as well.
Looking at all the marketing platforms, as you said now, and the plugins and everything that there are, if you have to give people 3 things to look at when setting up a marketing campaign, and I know it's a broad question because there's different metrics on different platforms, but by creating a campaign, what are the 3 things that you would look at to optimize and to get the most out of the money that you spend?
Yeah, that is a very good question, and it really depends per platform, but in general, it's always conversion rate, number 1. So how many people visit your website? How many people add something to a shopping basket, or how many people fill in a form, and then how many people will eventually convert? Because I think doing marketing is always all about brand, but as I said, I'm not really a fan of that unless you really understand your business quite well and you achieved something already. But otherwise, it's always about creating that intent to create people or get people who have the intention to buy something or to do something on your platform. Just be 100% sure about what that is and add KPIs on that specific matter. So conversion rate is one of them. Time on site can be one of them. Engagement on platforms can be one of them. For example, retention, how often do they come back? And the cost of acquisition, which is the last one. How much does it cost to get this client on board, to get a new client? How much can I leverage? Is there a margin of 10% on your product? Then you probably want to give away 5% of that margin to marketing, just to get people on board, because then you still make 5% on that product. And those calculations you need to make. If you sell services, for example, and you get the recurring recurring income there, just make sure that you calculate the customer lifetime value of a client. So how much can I spend on one client because I know they're going to stay for a year? So maybe you can pay even 3 or 4 months of their subscription to get them on board. So these core KPIs are boring, but they are essential to win a battle in online marketing.
Well, I think with all that and all the information that you gave to us, thank you for your time and thank you for joining us. And we'll definitely speak in the future again. All of the best with the company and your ventures coming up, and that's on the go already. And yeah, enjoy Cape Town.
Cape Town, that will definitely work. Thank you so much for having me, Etienne. Really enjoyed it, and can't wait to meet you again in person. And I wish all your listeners the best. They can always reach out to me via LinkedIn or via our platform www.clickpatrol.com. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Etienne.
Thanks a lot. We'll add the information in the show notes as well, and then get that out to the people once we get in touch with you. Thanks, Ardan.
Cheers.